Well, one thing's for sure, it's about time. Despite not talking about it nearly enough as I should, Doctor Who remains one of my favorite TV shows. What can I say? I'm a sucker for sci-fi. In all seriousness, I've wanted to talk about it for a while, hence the About section and the TARDIS on my banner. And where better to begin than the episode that started it all for New Who? Rose. Quite fitting that the time that I review this happens to be the same year Russell T Davies is returning as the showrunner and ushering in the Neo-Who era. I guess that's YouTube for ya. When Davies was given the task of resurrecting Doctor Who for the modern era, he had his work cut out for him. Most of us know by now that the most recent attempt to revitalize Doctor Who at that point was the 1996 movie featuring Paul McGann, and an actual season of the show had not existed since 1989. With a 16-year gap in between the two eras of the show, it was clear that some things were going to have to get reintroduced for a newer generation of fans to explore. However, there were going to be some older fans who would come back for a revival, so the show would have to please them as well. This is the correct mindset that anyone who revives a popular TV show or franchise in general needs to account for. And Davies' ultimate answer for Doctor Who was Rose. As the title implies, this episode revolves around the character of Rose Tyler and how she meets the titular hero. Though I guess they're both the titular characters since the show is named for him, but the episode is named for her. Anyway, Rose's introduction is set up well with a quick montage of her going about her daily routine, making her relatable to the audience as just an average person with no idea how her life is about to change. I really enjoy how they included Mickey and Jackie in this segment as well. Sure, they're not fully characterized at this moment, but having them here shows the audience how integral they are to Rose's life before we are even properly introduced to them. The same can actually be said about the Autons as the camera focuses on the mannequins in a few of the opening shots, planting the seed in the viewer's mind that these will become important later on. Because no normal days exist in fiction, Rose is sent down to the basement of her job where she encounters the Autons. I like how this scene is set up with Rose just about to leave but is stopped by security and handed the money, implying that this is a regular occurrence at her job. Today just happened to be different. Rose's reaction to seeing these Autons is very human and logical, with her immediately assuming that it's a prank before being caught off guard by the sheer number of them. Just when it seems that she has nowhere to go, though, the Doctor rushes in and utters the perfect first word a Doctor can have. The Doctor saving Rose here is a clear saving the cat technique, a method used by writers to make a character likable by having them save or protect someone or something else. This works because of the earlier scene that makes Rose familiar to us. We don't want to see her hurt, so we're grateful that the Doctor showed up when he did. The Doctor himself is also handled well in this situation, with him using the sonic screwdriver and speaking quick phrases that would not make sense to any normal human being. This sets the Doctor apart as someone unique and mysterious, a figure we want to learn more about. The Doctor tells Rose to run once again with the warning that if she tells anyone about this, she'll be putting them in danger, as he goes off to do, Doctor things. Again, million miles a minute, so like Rose, you're left trying to wrap your head around it all. As Rose leaves, CGI explosion that sort of overstays its welcome withstanding, we see a shot of everyone's favorite blue police box. The length of the shot combined with the background music cues newer fans that the box is important while simultaneously ensuring older fans that the show is what they remember. Rose goes home and meets up with her mother Jackie and boyfriend Mickey, who are glad she's safe after the events that transpired. This is a realistic approach to the matter, as if any loved one was near where something horrible went down, it would only be natural to be concerned for their safety. I love the characterization in this scene, with Jackie considering suing the place for how close Rose was to death, Mickey being there for his girl but also wanting to catch a game, standard relationship stuff, and even just the subtle nod of Rose taking the Doctor's words seriously by not wanting to bring up what happened. Though, admittedly, that last one could also be construed as Rose not knowing how to react to that situation now that she's returned to the reality of her own home, which would also still be a very human reaction to make. The Doctor returns again the next day as Rose is trying to find a new line of work. I like how this scene begins the same way as the starting one, implying that this should have been just another normal day, but yesterday's events changed everything, as the Doctor does. The Doctor arrives not looking for Rose, but instead chasing the arm that Mickey threw away in the previous scene. Rose pulls him inside because he's the only other person who knows what truly happened, and we get a brief scene that adds more character to the Doctor. He even looks at his reflection, a nod at regeneration for classic fans, but a quote that makes him more whimsical to newer fans who have no idea what that is. Again, it's the subtlety that makes these moments work rather than trying to shove a reference in your face for the sake of it. The Doctor finds the arm, and Rose, not paying attention to him as she was taking the human route of figuring out what to do next, assumes he is just messing around like most guys would. Yeah, I'll admit it, I would do that. This quickly turns into a fight scene as the Doctor and Rose have to wrestle this thing off of them, giving Rose more proof that she is truly dealing with living plastic. The Doctor then leaves, and honestly, I find the cut between these scenes a bit weird. The previous one ends with Rose, annoyed, hitting the Doctor with the plastic arm, but now the Doctor has the arm and has decided to bail? Technically, there's nothing unrealistic about the events that transpire, but it just seems a little off to me. Regardless, this leads to the Doctor and Rose discussing what happened and her learning the Doctor simply is just the Doctor, no surname. This culminates in one of the best Ninth Doctor quotes as he explains,
"We're falling through space, you and me, clinging to the skin of this tiny little world, and if we let go, that's who I am."
Before telling Rose to forget him and leaving in the same blue box from earlier. However, Rose, much like the viewer, is intrigued by the mystery of the Doctor and wants to get to the bottom of it. For the record, what did Rose think was going to pop up when she searched Doctor? She eventually finds a website linking to an image of the Doctor and goes to visit the site's owner Clive for more information. I like how Mickey comes along with her and gives a rational response for someone who just met somebody else on the internet. It helps make Mickey a more level-headed character juxtaposed to Rose, who has become too obsessed with the mysterious nature of the Doctor. Clive explains how the Doctor keeps popping up throughout history, with images of him going back all the way to the eruption of Krakatoa in the 1800s. Side note, I love how one of the images is in reference to the JFK assassination because that happened the day before Doctor Who aired its first episode. Just a fun little nod to add an extra layer to the scene for longtime fans. Clive continues to point out that the common theme with the Doctor is death, which, considering the chosen topics, is a fairly accurate statement. And as someone who's seen a good bit of episodes, yeah, it remains a fairly accurate statement. However, what does it for Rose is Clive's theory that the Doctor in all of these years is the same man, an alien from beyond the stars, which is an accurate statement to be wary of because of how these conspiracy theories act in the real world, to the point that even if aliens did reveal themselves, I'm sure human nature would refuse to believe it and explain it away as some prank. Something the show actually does, but we're not there yet. Rose admits that she was wrong to Mickey, or more accurately, a plastic replica of Mickey created from dated CGI. The two go out for some food where Rose discusses her work options. I like how this is her immediate response after everything that's happened, trying to go back to normal because she realizes there's not much more she can do in regards to the mystery of the Doctor. However, this plastic version of Mickey changes the subject to ask about the Doctor, which Rose rightfully doesn't like because the job situation should be more important. The plastic mimic keeps pressuring her, glitching out so she realizes something is off, before the Doctor appears again, ripping off the copy's head as he decides to rampage through the diner. Yeah, the CGI isn't exactly great here either, but you do get the Doctor's familiarity with what's going on as he rushes inside the blue box again as calm as the wind while Rose is trying to figure out how to escape. She eventually follows the Doctor inside and steps back out because she can't believe her eyes. She circles the box before returning inside, where the audience is met with the same reality when we see that the box is, in actuality, bigger on the inside. Admittedly, I do understand the few fans who would say this could have been executed better with the inside being shown to us at the same moment as Rose, but you could also argue that her leaving the box prepares us for the surprise that's waiting, eager to see why she walked out. The Doctor confirms that he is an alien, proving Clive correct, before Rose has to deal with another reality, the fact that Mickey might be dead. Rose's humanity and thinking about someone else juxtaposes well to the Doctor forgetting about him. Twice. It sells that this character is alien besides all the impossible technology, having no time for empathy because he's so busy focusing on the task at hand.
I'm busy trying to save the life of every stupid ape blundering about on top of this planet. Alright? Yes, it is!
Rose tries reaching out to the Doctor because while he is alien, there's something human about him, even managing to point out the obvious place of the transmitter used by the Nestine consciousness, who the Doctor explains lost his food resources in some war. The camera angle really helps to make it obvious where it is. Rose and the Doctor head down to the consciousness layer, where they find Mickey alive, the Doctor knowing it was possible but not saying anything due to the matter at hand. The Doctor then speaks to the consciousness, who looks fine, I guess? The CGI is a bit dated, but for the most part it sells the idea of extraterrestrial life with a concept that's foreign to humanity. However, the consciousness traps the Doctor and reveals his anti-plastic, which he had brought along for insurance. This of course backfires and the consciousness brings in the Doctor's TARDIS. This causes the Doctor to fearfully talk about the war due to the consciousness fear, setting up another seed of mystery to this character, especially for those who have seen the original series. The Doctor unable to stop it, however, the consciousness unleashes its plan to turn all of the plastic on the human race, which, as the Doctor pointed out earlier, is a really bad thing due to how much waste we humans produce. Because the villains are plastic though, there needed to be a scene to set them up as an imposing threat. So the scene cuts to Clive out with his family before the Autons attack, proving he was always right. Of course, he ends up as a casualty of the incident, which is such a shame because of how well his aspirations were established, and he gets cut down just as he gets to appreciate it. I understand the purpose of this, to make the audience hate the Autons and see them as a threat, but hashtag justice for Clive. To make matters worse, Rose's mother is there as the Autons attack, giving her a reason to want to stop them. With the Doctor unable to act, she takes it upon herself to save them because she's got nothing else going for her. She swings on some chains, justifying with a line about how she did this back in school, and knocks the anti-plastic into the Nestine, killing it and saving everyone. This scene does well to set up why Rose would take up the Doctor's offer in the next scene, as well as give a reason for why the Doctor would want Rose with him as a thanks, rather than just him taking her for no reason other than the show needs her there. With no job, nothing else going right, and all of time and space waiting for her, Rose makes the choice any of us would and heads off with the Doctor for the next episode. But on the subject of episodes, Rose makes for a pretty good start to Doctor Who's modern era. It gives returning fans everything they remember while making it digestible for the newer generation to join in. Sure, the CGI is pretty dated in places, and the story can feel a little undercooked at times, but this episode more than makes up for it by creating a unique cast of human characters with realism to their actions and relationships, as well as making the Doctor out to be this mysterious figure that we want to know more about. It may not be the best episode of Doctor Who, not by a country mile, but as far as season openers go, I'd say it's quite
Fantastic.
And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a God bless day, everyone.